Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this General Assembly. Before starting the meeting, I would like to give you a few explanations as regards our voting system. Welcome to this General Assembly. Before starting the agenda of the meeting, I will discuss the way our voting systems are used. We have a simultaneous translation during the meeting for French. You have channel 1 for Dutch, we have channel 2, and for English we have channel 3.
Plaats uw stemkaart. Verzeker u ervan dat de barcode en de pijl naar beneden en naar u toe gericht zijn. Plaats de stemkaart tot aan de rode lijn in het stemapparaat. Een welkomstbericht bevestigt dat de kaart correct is geplaatst. Uw naam en het aantal aandelen, stemgewicht, wordt weergegeven op het scherm. Als de stemronde geopend wordt, verschijnen de mogelijke antwoorden op het scherm van het stemapparaat. Om te stemmen, druk op de toets die overeenkomt met uw keuze. Voorbeeld, om voor te stemmen, druk op toets 1. Een boodschap op het scherm van het toestel bevestigt de ontvangst van uw stem. U wenst uw keuze te veranderen, druk simpelweg op de X-toets om uw antwoord te verwijderen en geef uw nieuwe keuze in voor het sluiten van de stemronde. Indien uw stemkaart niet correct werd geplaatst, verschijnt een waarschuwing op het scherm van uw apparaat. Vergeet zeker niet onze toestel en de stemkaart terug te bezorgen bij het einde van het evenement. Gelieve uw gsm uit te schakelen gedurende de hele meeting. Hartelijk dank.
Placez votre carte à puce. Assurez-vous que le code barre et la flèche soient orientés vers le bas et vers vous. Insérez la carte à puce jusqu'à la ligne rouge dans l'unité de vote. Un message d'accueil vous confirme que la carte a été introduite correctement. Votre nom et le nombre d'actions, poids de vote, est montré à l'écran. Quand le vote est ouvert, l'écran du boîtier de vote affiche les réponses possibles. Pour voter, appuyez sur la touche correspondante à votre choix. Exemple, pour voter pour, appuyez sur la touche 1. Un message à l'écran du boîtier vous confirme la réception de votre vote. Vous changez d'avis? Appuyez simplement sur la touche X pour effacer votre réponse et introduire votre nouveau choix avant la fermeture de la session de vote. Si votre carte à puce est mal introduite, un message d'avertissement s'affiche à l'écran de votre boîtier. N'oubliez certainement pas de nous remettre le boîtier et la carte à puce à la fin de l'événement. Veuillez couper votre téléphone portable durant la réunion.
Je vous propose.
Maybe we can just try it out. Do you think that Red Devils will win the final of the European Football Championships in 2016? We can start voting.
Tout le monde a-t-il.
You all had the opportunity to vote. Now we can close the vote. We would like to see the results. We are waiting for the results, and we see that according to the majority, we will win the championship this year. I'll give the floor to Stéphane de Klerk. He is chairman of the board. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to open this general Assembly, this Extraordinary General Assembly, as
Languages of the meeting are Dutch and French. The participants who do not master any of those two languages are invited to express themselves in English. Instant translations in Dutch, Channel 2, French, Channel 1, and English, Channel 3 are available through the headsets. Je suis très heureux.
I'm very pleased to be able to welcome the shareholders. I would like also to welcome Dominique Leroy. She's our member of the board. Also, Sandrine Dufour, Dick Libat, Chief Corporate Affairs, our CFO. They are sitting next to me. I would like also to welcome the members of the board of the Executive Committee, also the auditors, the journalists, the members of the staff, the interpreters, also those who make it possible to vote electronically. This meeting is broadcasted on the internet, and only the people on the rostrum will be visible on the screen. After this General Assembly, we will have an extraordinary General Assembly in order to change our statutes. So please do not leave the room after the normal General Assembly. Please remain seated for the extraordinary General Assembly, and afterwards we will have a drink and we will have also a lunch. In compliance with Article 37 of the statute, I would like to appoint Mr. Dirk Libat as the secretary. We have also Catherine de Donlodo and Mr. Koen van Parijs, who will tell the votes. Do we have any comments as regards the bureau composition? No, thank you very much. And I give the floor to Mr. Dirk Libat. As far as this General Assembly is concerned, the General Assembly has been in fact has been invited based on the general clauses of the code. It has been published in the Belgian Monitor, also in the TED and the Echo. On the 18th of March 2016, the shareholders, the members of the board, the auditors have been invited, and this based on the legal provisions. You will find the different elements as far as this item is concerned in the bureau. The different members, the auditors, the members of the board, they have received a document in compliance with Article 55, and those who have obligations could also obtain freely the necessary document. The shareholders and the representatives of shareholders have signed the list of presence, and they have also give a proxy, and this will also be attached to the summary of this meeting. We will also find a list of all shareholders who voted per letter in compliance with Article 39. And indeed, we know that we have registered their vote. The Bureau has seen that we have indeed 243,790,067 shareholders on a total of 338,025,135 shares depending from the company. Now, if we delete the number of privileged shares, we are talking about 330 million shares and a little bit. According to the legislation, there is no quorum to be able to organize this meeting, and therefore we know that we can take the necessary decisions as far as the items on the agenda are concerned. Decisions are only approved if the result is the half plus one, and I'll give the floor to the chair. Do you have comments as far as the description of these formalities are concerned? And because there are no other comments, we can say that this meeting is valid and can take decisions as far as the different items on the agenda are concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, as chair of the board, I would like to welcome you during this general, ordinary and later extraordinary meeting on the 20th of April 2016. We will be able to look at the results of the Proximus group in 2015. 2015 was a tremendous year, a successful year, a year where 1 year faster than foreseen, we could grow again, and globally speaking, we had beautiful results. We are now fit for growth, and I think we'll discuss this later. On behalf of the board, I would like to thank very warmly all of those who contributed to these incredible results. We have more than 14,000 colleagues who are working on a top-notch market with a lot of competition, and we hope we will keep working with them also from a social point of view in order to reach this growth target for our company. I would like also to pay tribute to the members of the ExCo, and also I would like to pay tribute to their direct colleagues. They are a talented team and they are fully complementary. Our results are the fruit of their vision and of their work. A team under our manager of the year, Dominique Leroy. She knows what she wants. She is very clear. She speaks out, and she's always there to guide the different changes we have to go through as a company. Our subsidiaries, Bix, Scarlett, Tango, Tilindus, they also are very important. They are very successful, and they are an incredible element in the global enterprise strategy of Proximus, and therefore we will focus on them as well. As board, I would like also to pay tribute to the very dynamic company culture, of course supported by our CEO, and I hope that the positive evaluation that we can communicate today will be even better for the future. It will be indeed very important in order to grow as a digital company. I think it is important for our confidence, and we will have to work on a continuous adaptation of our services and products. It's not only the simplification, also the fact that we have to be customer-oriented as far as our services and products are concerned, but also the development of new products. So we are talking about internationalization. Proximus, and this is the decision that we have taken last year to change the name, and I think that this name is now very important, always close. This is a brand. We were just a usual company, and now we have become a central stakeholder in the digitalization process of the country and its institutions and companies. Of course, we have several challenges on the Belgium market. We have a consolidation because of the fusion, the merge between Telenet and Base. At international and at European level, we have new alliances, and they jeopardize sometimes our usual models. The user wants more speed, more volume, more screens, and he wants easier use. For him, it is of course obvious, and of course at the cheapest possible price. device, but for us it's incredibly complicated. We need to develop the new network, the LoRa network, the Internet of Things, and also the fiber network. For companies, it requires a lot of investment. So we are talking about 1 billion euro a year. We are very pleased that all institutions in Europe, of course, we're talking also about the federal, the regional institutions, but also the cities that want to become smart cities, that everyone has the possibility to put forward the importance and the possibilities of the digital economy and with others. We are talking about other Belgian companies. We can have an impact on that, but institutions can also play a major role when new services have to be launched in the field of mobility, of energy, also to facilitate new infrastructure creation for companies, for schools, for hospitals, also by redesigning some services, for instance, Belnet, Irisnet, or Smalls, or by avoiding, for instance, some tax measures or hindrances for us. And to fill in the digital gap in Europe, companies, academic world, and public authorities can only work together in order to meet the challenges, but also the possibilities of today and tomorrow. And this is the reason why we need a European policy guaranteeing fair competition conditions and also a good return on investments in the field of infrastructure. Europe, for us, is essential. The new directives in field of data protection, also the debate around data privacy, the transposition in the Belgian law. These are elements that can help us for the future development of our infrastructure. Also, at Belgian level, I think we have a lot of changes. I would like to talk about the cybersecurity coalition created at our initiative. It's a common struggle against the new kind of criminality. There is also the merge between IMEC and IMANS, and we have definitely supported that as Proximus. Companies and schools work together. Proximus is in fact present at societal level. I would like to talk about child-focused protection of children against abuses, bednet and take off for sick children, also DigiTalent, guiding younger generations who do not have a job. I would like also to say that when we are talking about social responsibility, in fact, our CO2 emission has been reduced by 70% in 2015, 5 years earlier than foreseen, and we would like to have a zero CO2 emission from 2016 onwards. Climate ambitions that are very stringent and very valid. As you understood, we are a committed company, a Belgian committee, and we want to be a trendsetter. We are a trendsetter, and the whole country with all the companies, institutions, and citizens, we should be as best as possible and also very innovative. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that the recent events in Zaventem show that we are very fragile, but we have also to be resilient. We will have to invest in the improvement of the flow of information between the different security services and institutions. And therefore, we need an integrated data management system where, of course, colleagues from the judicial and also from the police will be able to work more efficiently. We live in a digital world, and of course, therefore, we have to work, and it is a priority on security. And these targets, of course, are definitely supported by Proximus as well, because we are connecting people with the world and can live in a better situation. And this is the mission of Proximus, and therefore security is really essential. Security is for Proximus a major priority. Ladies and gentlemen, before starting with the different formal items, I would like to pay tribute to the former CEO of Belgacom between 2003 and 2013, Didier Bellens. He died of cancer, and indeed, he made it possible to be listed on the stock exchange. He was also at the basis of the introduction of the digital TV. And on behalf of the board, management, and the members of the personnel, I want once again to pay tribute to Didier Bellens and, of course, all his family and all his friends. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2015, at the level of the board, we have also been through changes. Jo Cornu, because of his age, has been replaced by Martin de Precker. Theo Dielsen was a member of the board between 2004-2015, has been in fact replaced by Carole de Kucht. For all the members of the board and based on their mandate, we will ask for a discharge. I would like also to thank once more all the members of the board for their good cooperation, and this, of course, for the company and in a great dialogue with the company. We have two excellent members of the board, Lutgard van de Berge and Karine Loutre-le-Pont, who are going to leave us. They are not going to be member of the board of directors. They have a mandate of 12 years as independent members of the board. But after 12 years, this is the maximum indeed. Lutgard van den Berg is was an incredible member. She is a teacher in Ghent, and she has been working at the Vlerik. She is always in favor of fair management, and indeed she has practiced that within the company. I think we are now a model company, or at least we try to be a model company thanks to work. And on a daily basis, she's still busy with the development of all the aspects of corporate governance, and we would like to thank her very deeply, and we hope we will meet her again in the future. Thank you for being with us today. And Karine Loutre-le-Pont, she is a barrister, a lawyer. She's working at the law faculty of the ULB. She specialized in copyright, competition law, has a deep academic knowledge. Both of her, of course, have played a major role within the board and in the different committees of Proximus. On behalf of Proximus, I would like once again to thank them very warmly for their important contribution to the growth of Belgacom and Proximus today. Now, as successors, we have with a lot of professionalism. We have, of course, we've been looking for top quality people because of their knowledge, their operational knowledge, their international vision, their personality, their character. Now we have two candidates. We have Luigi Torrenderi and Luc van den Hove. So Tanuja Randeri and Mr. Luc van den Hove, we will have a motion to appoint them as a new member of the board. So Mrs. Tanu Randeri has worked in India, and she's now a member of CEO of Schneider Electric in the UK and in Ireland. Tanuja Randeri is a business expert. She studied in India, in Bombay, and also in the US.
Leuven.
He is, of course, the professor at the KU Leuven, Luc van den Hove, involved into the development of IMEC in Louvain, and he is the CEO of IMEC. He contributed importantly on the merger between IMEC and iMinds. I have been talking about, and congratulations again. He studied as an engineer at the KUL. I'd like to ask him to take the floor to tell us why they are so enthusiastic to get to the board and to be member. First, Tanunja Randari, who can take the floor. Tanunja, the floor is yours.
I want to say I'm absolutely delighted to be here at the AGM, but probably more delighted to be considered by the board and the shareholders for this position of non-exec director. Personally delighted because I spent many years in Brussels. I actually led City of London Telecoms, you might know them as Colt, during 2006 and 2008 in Benelux, and lived here with my family. So on a personal level, it's great to potentially return to Brussels. And on a professional level, it's wonderful to keep a foot in telecoms, because I now run, as the chairman mentioned, Schneider Electric, which is a industrial energy management firm. And the UK and Ireland is a fourth largest country for the group. I think there are a lot of commonalities, but at the same time, it's quite an independent situation for me, because I'm now in an industrial position rather than in the telecoms world. But I think the integration of in the IT world and the operational technology world is really the future. And as the chairman mentioned in his opening speech, I think there are very many opportunities to partner in this ecosystem, and I look forward to potentially helping and driving that strategy along with Dominique and Stefan. Just a very quick piece of background about myself. I have spent 20 years in the technology and telecoms arena. First as a consultant with McKinsey & Company, mostly in the US, advising telecom boards and CEOs, and then more recently in the last 12 years with Colt in Europe, leading both the UK and Ireland, Benelux and global businesses, and also more recently with BT Global Services, who you of course know as well, as CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, and also Chief Strategy Officer overall. So it's been a pleasure to work and partner with Proximus Group over the years, also with Bix, who we know very well and has been a client in the past. And I think I can bring the telecoms experience, the international experience, obviously the experience very specifically around the enterprise business, which is my background, along with the ability to advise on growth strategy and strategic alliances, given the movement around the Internet of Things and the digital economy. So I very much look forward to supporting what Dominic has already put in place with Fit for Growth. I think there's a strong foundation, and I look forward, if nominated, to enabling that progress over the next few years. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanunja. So, Luc van den Hove.
Luc van den Hove. Well, my name is indeed Luc van den Hove, chair and of CEO and of IMEC. I am with IMEC ever since the start. I was at the start at the foundation of IMEC, and this has been the case for 32 years, developing it as a world player, a research center on nanotechnology, and all appliances which are possible into that field. With major international players, we were quite active, and this here in Europe, but also in America, in Asia, with Samsung and other big players in this field. Technology is developing very fast. With the Internet of Things and all these evolutions, we do take that into account. It is important to combine the hardware with the software. That's why this merger with iMinds has been done. We're very happy about this. Those two worlds will converge, and that way we will be able to offer solutions, and the region will be even more focused on the research in this field. And I'm very enthusiastic. It's really an honor to be asked and to be part of the board of Proximus. Yes, it is. As the chair just said before, the world is changing fast. the digital economy as well. And it is important for Proximus to take a clear stand, and I hope I will be able to contribute on that way in order to make a right strategical choices and to adopt a right position in this fast-changing innovation world, be it Internet of Things and the car world, but also the medical world. Major things will change, and I hope I will be able to contribute with a vision and a innovation strategy. Thank you, Luc. In a while, you will be able to talk about these two excellent applicants. And can't be as good as the former Lutgard, isn't it? But we are quite convinced that they will have a quality character, quality, and is more focused on the industrial and technological world. Thank you for your introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, as it is our tradition in the framework of the General Assembly, I refer to the remuneration report you have been able to read. It's about the remuneration of the members of the board and of the management. This committee determines the wages of the CEO and the members of the executive committee, but also the policy of the higher management and the way it is composed. It is regularly compared to the Bell 20 companies, with exception of the financial world, but with telecom and ICT companies. Proximus, for its management staff, has determined a well-balanced policy compliant with the market and to honor the interest of the shareholders as well. We want to found ourselves on the mission and being compliant with the best practices of this market. We have to keep our capacity to attract and to keep high-performance managers for the ExCom and also for the team. The idea of a full packet offered to the managers of the company has not changed. It is composed of some elements, a basic wage, and we can tell you that with the nomination of the new CEO in 2014, a new standard has been determined for all new top managers, and we have to take that into account, of course. Next to the basic income and a retirement advantage, there's a variable income on the short term, which is according to the targets that have been reached. 60% is determined by the performance of Proximus Group and 40% by the individual leadership executions. It is also based upon the variable income on the longer term. Ever since 2013, it is composed of a incentive plan on the long term, and as such, it is the same as in other telecom company. It's about a performance value plan based upon a full profitable income for shareholders with a full basket of the 12 telecom operators in Europe. On average, it's based for the senior management on the long term, and it is in harmony with the expectations of the shareholders. The long-term incentive plan, it is precisely to take the long-term decisions for the success of Proximus on the long term, and this for all people except for the Dominique Leroy. The question has been put about the roots of the increase of the global amount of ExCo, and I'd like to tell you that it is only because of the evolution of the number of places within the ExCo. Some positions will have to be taken into account for the full year, but also for the two new members of the ExCo, and it is not because of the income raise, not at all. Ever since the new CEO, with the replacement of any member, it is a lower income that is given than it used to be the case before. And as to finish, in 2016, just as in 2015, there is a maximum variable income on the short term that will be attributed to Dominique Leroy as a delegate board member. In compliance with the labor agreement, In Belgium and the Belgium treaty, well, it is 50% that will be given immediately, 25% thereafter the second year, and 25% the third year. And as I stated at the start, the mission and the execution of Dominique Leroy has been determined by the Remuneration Committee and has been assessed as very positive, and we do hope that into the future we will be able to compensate her for that. I hope that the remuneration report, as you have had it, can be approved. Later on, we do continue with another first few elements of the agenda, but before this, I'd like to thank a few people. I think that it is worth to mention, in the framework of the new auditors and the commissioners, I'd like to thank Geert Verstraeten from Deloitte and then to thank him for his very intensive efforts. Deloitte will remain. Internally, there will be some changes, but I do thank also Luc Gallard also for his constructive cooperation and the positive advices and conclusions. We have never had any major complaints, so we do thank you for this positive cooperation. Amongst the auditors that will be replaced by Michel Denayer, who is present from Deloitte, and Damien Petit, and he is also present right now. Nico Houtgraven from Deloitte will remain with us, and he will ensure the continuity. I'd like to say as well that into the extraordinary General Assembly, the government commissioners won't be the same neither, and that means that those who have done the job in 2015 are thanked for that. Janssens and Emmanuel Peters, and he is the major voter today because he is representing the government. Thank you, Emmanuel, and thank you for the efforts in the past, and we do hope that we will take advantage of the positive votes for the different points that we are going to submit to this meeting. Thank you very much for your presence, for your attention, and particularly your loyalty and your trust. We'd like to tell you we respect this thanks to the dividend the same as last year, and the increase of the value of our share in 2015. I hope 2016 will be a positive year, as positive as 2015, but I have to address Dominique Leroy, who will talk about the actions of 2015, and she will talk maybe about the future. And it's my pleasure to give her the floor. Dominique. Mr. Chair, Stéphane, thank you very much. Welcome to all of you on my name as well, on my behalf. It is an opportunity to listen to the different executions of 2015 and the strategy Fit for Growth. It has been introduced in 2014, implemented. It's about to simplify the organization and to ensure growth. Looking at the figures, well, we have made this growth a year before the initial objectives, and I think we are one of these historical companies which have been able to reach that growth in terms of growth and profit. I thank also the whole team that has been working upon this in order to reach those figures. As you can see, the growth, the core underlying revenue, it's a full revenue with exception of BICS, which is much more international. That's about interconnection between different operators worldwide. That's why we do mention those figures separately. As such, 2.1% growth in the so-called core underlying revenue, 2.5% with the BICS, and a growth of the EBITDA of 4.9%, close to 5%. The chair just said this. This is thanks to major investments, and as you can see, except the investment in the license of Spectrum license, We have invested 926 million in the improvement of the network, services, process, but also content-wise. It is important, as we said, the Fit for Growth strategy. Next to this, there is also a so-called sense of purpose. It's a target, a holistic objective, and all members of the company has to know where are we today. It's about to have people connected to the world on a permanent basis in order to improve their lifestyle and to have them working more efficiently. There's poor technology on this image, but it is thanks to the technology that people will improve their situation. Look how this is being translated. A very first pillar into the Fit for Growth. It's about service providing and to simplify life and about the work of the customers. Few important initiatives have been taken, as you can see on the slide. It's a fully different system of end-to-end complaints handling. Someone phoning, there will be a follow-up until the very end, not as in the past. We used to have some questions. Why do we need to explain or complain with 3 different people? Now it's different. There's someone who will provide you the right answer. We invested also into my Proximus. It is an app on a smartphone tablet, just as it is available on the web. People can manage their bill, their license, their prices. They can follow up their consumption. It's really the right way in order to provide the customer the right information and then data, and as such, they can manage their relationship with Proximus. A third one, each time there is a new customer, there will be a full installation with a technician. As in the past, you had to take a decoder and so forth, and to to implement it yourself. We changed the process. Now it's only a full installation by technicians, professionals, as the technology is more and more complex. If you leave it to the people, most cases we needed to send a technician, and they were unfortunate. So that's why we decided to do it straightforward. And the last one is that there's an evolution into the connectivity to the IT services. That's why, for professional customer, there is a ICT service desk that has been opened, and they can address their questions about Microsoft 365 or OneDrive or any of that kind of services. In the past, they could address externally, but now it's within Proximus that they can offer the service. Look, content-wise. Well, there as well, major investments have been made in order to enlarge the content offer. Netflix has been the first additional service. It used to be a ICT platform, but now it is accessible on Proximus television. A television interface is much more visual, and that allows a much more easier service, a new interface, and we changed for free all decoders. And this year, all customers will take advantage of new technology and take advantage of the new interface. We invested also in sports, whether it be football at the Belgian level with Jupiler Pro League, but also the other Pro League, the Champions League, International, the Italian, the French, and the Spanish. All this is available on Proximus television, and more international sports thanks to an agreement with the ESM. We do offer our basket, tennis championship, and other sports, and this for a very low price, €15 a month, if you take the full package. And the last acquisition, well, that is something that will make a major impact in the northern part of the country, also with families. We've got Wanagogo, which is all the films, the plays, and the music of Studio 100, which is programs which are looked at very much by children. Sometimes young people don't want to have television at home, but as seen as there are some children, there is more available, and this is also part of the choice of Proximus, and we can compare to the competition.
If we look at our strategy, and also for other telecom companies, we want to come up with convergent products. We are talking about services, applications, and so on and so forth. We see that the strategy is okay. A lot of our residential customers, 43%, are already convergent, which means they are mobile and they are also fixed. At the level of companies, we are going further down the road because we have mobile, we have fixed lines, but we have also a connection and bridging and additional services as far as the cloud is concerned, also security, video conferences, new ways of working, also very stringent service level agreements where we make the difference compared to other competitors, and we have a lot of guarantees for our professional customers. Now, if we look at our network, and this is very important, we invest a lot in our network. For instance, for the fixed network, we invest more and more in our copper wires, and now we have the fiber almost everywhere. We have 21,000 kilometers of fiber, but we sometimes have, during the last few meters, of course, still a lot of copper threads. We know that this is also very important for the residential use. We have a lot of figures related to 2015, and you know where we'll be in 2018, which means that almost 60% of the population will reach 100 megabytes also for the upstreams. If you work in the cloud, you want to be able to store pictures, videos in the cloud. This is the so-called upstream, and we want to double the speed over the next 3 years. When we are talking about our business, the fixed network with optic fiber, we go till the street, and then we go with the copper thread. Now, for fiber, we want really to reach the company for business customers because they have their own application in a data center in the cloud, and there is a lot of data exchange, and the speed is very important, and this is the reason why for some or for a lot of business customers we have launched an important program aiming at rolling out fibers. Different technologies are used. For instance, we have deployed a point-to-multipoint fiber architecture for business customer, but that's rather technical. Now, the mobile business, we have invested a lot in the 4G network. This is almost the end of it. In 2015, we reached a coverage of almost 98%. Indoor, we are only at 93%, but the figure will be better in 2016. We are one of the best in class in Europe. We have have also a program aiming at improving the voice and data experience in order to avoid a dropped call. We have 0.4% of dropped call in 2015, so we are one of the best in Europe, and the same goes for upload and download. We have specific strategies in cities, the 4G plus, and we have therefore higher download speed in cities. And now, if we look at our customers, we see that more and more customers use data at a mobile level. They are not only calling with their mobile, they are also surfing, they are on the internet. And in Belgium, a lot of people have a smartphone. 58% in the use of data has increased tremendously, certainly for those having a 4G smartphone. We are talking about 1 gigabyte a month, a multiplication by 4. And because of these figures, we will have to invest in our network. We need to have a higher capacity for our customers, because this is a need for customers, and this will grow in the future. Those who do not have a 4G mobile phone, they are only using, they don't use a lot, they only use a few megabytes. In the future, they will also use 1 gigabyte. Also, another item very important when talking about the network strategy, we need a good regulation framework. We need a regulatory playing field, an equal playing field for all the stakeholders on the market. We are still discussing with the institutions to get access to the cable where we do not have an optimal coverage with our fiber. Up to now, we have no answer, even if we have been in contact with the government for years and years, and knowing that the cable is using our network. The same goes for over-the-top players, Facebook, Google, and so on and so forth. These are major global companies, and because they have access to customer data, they can get their remuneration out of advertising, but we cannot do it because of privacy and because of the regulatory regime. But basically, we have sometimes the same services. Look at Skype, Viber, WhatsApp. These are equal services as ours, but they don't have to follow the same rules as us. Therefore, we would like to call upon the Belgian and the European regulatory framework to amend it, to change it, to be on a level, an equal level, a playing field. And then a last item, taxes on mobile antennas and pylons. We are one of the very few countries where there is a tax on antennas, and this is not very well understood by us, because we indeed need to grant a good coverage, but coverage, it means also additional antennas, and if we have to pay, therefore, I've often said that they don't understand that, the regulator doesn't understand it, and I'm afraid that in the future we won't be able to deploy the 5G. So it's a tax, according to me, against innovation. Unfortunately, if it remains, we might have a Walloon and a Brussels region where you will have connected cars. So you will be able to drive everywhere with a connected car, except in the Walloon region and in Brussels, because I don't think that will be ideal. But in Flanders, it will be okay. Okay? Now, another element which is very important, we have been talking a lot about our network, about our services, about the content, but we also envisage how we can become a digital player, how we can invest indeed in certain areas, for instance, cloud, data center, new ways of working, remote working, video conference, and so on and so forth. These elements are more and more important for our companies and for their competition. LoRa is a new network which is very specific for the Internet of Things. We are only at the beginning of this major change thanks to the Internet of Things, not only in the life of citizens but also in companies where we'll have to focus on preventions instead of maintenance. And we need to help our Belgian companies to grasp these opportunities and to remain competitive compared to other companies in other countries. And then, of course, security is essential. We have invested a lot in security. We have a permanent monitoring of our services, but it is also indeed for our customers, and we are one of the best in Europe. To guarantee to give to our customers the best possible cyber security or cyber security devices or protection, in other words. As far as innovation is concerned, innovation is not only taking place in our company. We are working in cooperation with other companies, societies, universities, and so on and so forth. And there we also try to contribute to the development of startup companies in Belgium. We have invested, for instance, in different companies in the field of mobility, for instance, with B Mobile. We have also invested in Tessares. It's a spin-off of the Leuven University. They have a specific technology dedicated to fixed and mobile networks in order to obtain more speed and more capacity, and in order also to supply internet in places in the middle of nowhere. And then we have the last element, enabling companies. We try to open our infrastructure through interfaces for developers and developers community who can develop their startup, their application. I think we have a major role to play against that background. You see a few examples. These are concrete initiatives in the field of mobility, monitoring, for instance, traffic jams. We can help cities to guide their, for instance, car users. We have also a smart parking application. 30% of traffic in cities is linked to people looking for a parking lot. If we reduce that, we can reduce traffic jams and reduce pollution with a higher return for citizens. We have also indeed solution for insurance companies with tailor-made products. And last but not least, we have also the possibilities of paying by textos as used by Stip and Derlane. Now, maybe a last element which is very important because we have changed a lot at the level of our services, but one of the most important pillars is culture. How we help our citizens, our staff as well. How can we indeed indeed guarantee that at the level of the front line, people are basically working happily. We have invested a lot in the front line, but also in the development of our colleagues, and we have also invested a lot in an initiative called coaching and feedback. So we remain a learning company, and people can help us and indeed in order to really be able to support our customers. I will conclude by a few figures, and then I'll give the floor to Mrs. Defour. She will discuss the financial results. You'll see that all these efforts made it possible to obtain positive figures. I'm talking about the number of new customers, 115,000 fixed internet, 167 GTV, and 167,000 mobile postpaid customers. So we have increased our market shares, and this means that the strategy Fit for Growth is alive and kicking. And this is the house I already tabled last year, 2016. What is important, what's on the right-hand side of the screen, putting on the market new products that are relevant for customers, investing in fibers for business, developing the company in a truly digital company, also internally, and also pursuing simplification and cost reduction. This is not a secret. The cost structure of Proximus is too important compared to our competitors in Belgium and to other telco in Europe, for instance, Telenet, Base, and also Mobistar. So it is very transparent. They're also a subsidiary of a major group. We are really rooted in Belgium with jobs in Belgium, but unfortunately we have to follow European cost structures and Belgium cost structures. So the red element is essential. Pursuing investment in our staff, our teams, our people to become a more agile company, listening to customers and also dedicated to our customers. That's it. Dennis, this is the end of my presentation, and I'll give the floor to Sandrine Dufour, CFO. She will discuss the financial figures of 2015. Thank you very much, Dominique. Indeed, I would like now to discuss the results of 2015. I will start with our turnover with an improvement by 2.2% thanks to our commercial growth as highlighted by Dominique Leroy. If you look at this evolution in 2015, you will see that the different divisions or segments are really growing. For instance, television, 15% growth in 2015. Fixed data, also very good performance, and then mobile service revenues, and there we are growing again with a progression of more than 2% in 2015, and this means an improvement of the core direct margin by 1.6%. 2015 was also an incredible year for our subsidiary BICS, Carrier International Services, with an increase in turnover, a double-digit growth of the direct margin, and also a growth of 90%, even more than that, of the EBITDA, 160 million for the EBITDA of the group. And this means that there is a growth of our EBITDA of 4.9%, 1,733. So yes, we are fit for growth, and we are growing 1 year sooner than planned and foreseen. We have also invested a out in our networks for our customers, also in the content. And in 2015, we have invested 926 million euros. I'm talking about the spectrum innovation or renewal for 75 million, and we are going to pursue this in 2016 because we will grow, or we will invest, sorry, we will invest 950 million euros investment, of course. Now, our cash flow, or free cash flow, is very solid. And maybe to have a good understanding, make a comparison with 2014. Then you need to get rid of exceptional elements. For instance, in 2014, we had the disposal of Telindus France, Telindus in UK, but also disposals of buildings. In 2015, there was also a mobile settlement. If you get rid of these incidentals, we come to the conclusion that our cash flow generation in 2015 was almost comparable to 2014, which means that we definitely can pay the dividends. And we can cover it easily. We are in a very, very comfortable position. 1.9 billion, this is the end of the year. This is a ratio, one of the lowest debt on EBITDA ratio, and therefore we have an excellent rating. And we have also a maturity of reimbursement of our debt. In 2015, we could reimburse our debt, and we could also issue senior unsecured notes in 2015 for 10 years. So we are very careful, and we are heading off in the right direction. Now, to sum up, this is a 3 years commitment, and in line with the 3 years commitment, we propose to return of the result of 2015 a total gross dividend per share of 1.50 per share, and 2016 we would like, of course, to renew that with one part which has also already been granted in the past, and you will receive another additional euro in the coming weeks. Now, this is the strategy, Fit for Growth, and this is the slide. This is the performance of the share since the launch of the Fit for Growth strategy in 2014. You see that we have increased by 44%, which is higher than the performance of companies listed on the Belgian Stock Exchange, and even better than the companies in Europe in the telecom sector. And I think that now I'll give the floor to the chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dominique. Thank you, Sandrine, for this explanation. If there was any question, we can put a question in the question and answer session. Let's deal with the very first 4 points of our agenda. This is related to the communication of the reports of the board, the commissioners' report, the auditors, and the consolidated annual accounts on the date of December 31st, the decisions of the Parity Committee and the consolidated accounts. We have heard the explanations as well. The so-called Parity Committee of 2016 is confirming that the economic and financial information of 2015 related to this company has been communicated correctly, and this report has been signed by the secretary of this commission, Mrs. Patricia van der Wille, and signed also by the chair of the board. The shareholders and the others who have been able to take knowledge and to take notice of these documents, well, I suggest to the questions and answers without talking about the reports. Let's deal with the question. But first of all, let's say that all those who would have a technical question products or services, would like to know something, anything, you can address the so-called VIP help desk available in the reception area after this meeting. All the technical, of course, Dominique will be there, but you can also address the help desk so that this be solved. So questions and answers, but I'd like to tell you that there is a help desk for any questions related to the products into the room during the reception. We have had some written questions from André de Barcy, Jacques Gallois, Philippe Laudet, Thomas Dagne-Richecoeur, but also Mr. Xavier Lombard. We will deal with this question according to the moment it has been addressed. The three questions of Mr. Barcy, and then the question of Mr. Gallois relating to the budget of wholesale. We have had also some questions from the shareholders, Mr. Gallois, Laudet, Dagneau de Richecoeur, and de Lombard, related to the KTO TV, the platform removing from the Proximus TV platform. After a long year of analysis of its content, Proximus has said that KTO TV, well, we want to stop distribution for technical and economic reasons. The technical capacity is limited, hence some choices and assessment needs to be done according to the cost and according to the number of people watching this television. As there is only a limited number of people watching this television, Proximus is listening to the customers and is very sensitive regarding the reactions and was very sensitive about the importance for the people of this program. That's why it has been determined to keep this within the basic offer, but also after the April 30th. A communication has been done about this 2 or 3 days ago. Hence, the questions related to KTO is, there's no subject anymore, except if there is a question that is being asked by the 4 shareholders. But if there was also still a question, then we can answer, but the decision has been changed. Hence, I don't think we have to deal with the questions. First, questions of Mr. Barcy, and I give the floor to Dirk, who will provide some information and refer to that question. First question is about roaming. Very soon, you, as any other operator, will have to reduce tariffs and also as such the income for any call with roaming. Could you anticipate the compensation by the increase of trans-border flow, and this as a translation of the unity price reduction? Do you have any market study that could provide an approximate level of such a compensation? And 3, that tariff change, do you think it would have a consequence on the data traffic flow? And regarding the difference of local tariffs in between EU member states, how could you avoid that a citizen could ask for a foreign player to get a telephone line? Well, yes, indeed, canceling progressively within the year 2016-17, the roaming will be cancelled, and it has an impact on our results. Such an impact, it is a loss of profit of about 28 million euro in 2016. We do hope that this be a little bit lower, because, as you said, the roaming prices will reduce, but we do hope there will be a positive effect on volumes. How much? It's difficult to assess. People do use more and more their phone abroad. We do hope that with new prices, people will use it even more. So the 28 million, it's a maximum as a loss. We hope to will compensate by an increase of volume. It's very hard to assess that future volume increase. This rule is to be applied for as textos, data flow, everything, and voice, which is particularly into these parameters that we will notice an increase of use. We do hope that the increase will be even more important in 2016 and 17. Another important aspect regarding this roaming cancellation, it's that indeed people can ask for a license for a phone abroad, using it in Belgium, taking advantage of very cheap prices. For instance, Romania, prices are very low, but the network is of a very bad quality. An EU directive has to be decided upon at the end of this year, and that's about a fair use policy, a reasonable use policy. And it's about if you're a resident in a country, you have to take your card within that country. Free roaming, it's only with a moderate use outside your country of residence. It's about 45 to 60 days of roaming. If this is being adopted like that, you can get a rule with a correct use. And as such, the operator can get some income, some revenue for its investments and services. And the people can use its phone abroad, and this for a reasonable price. So we do wait for the EU's decision. That decision will be very important to avoid a so-called dumping of prices in the telecom sector, because that would, of course, damage our profit, but also infrastructure and investments-wise. Second question, it's about investments into the network. The question is that page 49 of your printed report, you're talking about some ways to improve the mobile access network, to simplify the network by a structural replacement of copper by fiber optic, but also the glasswork, and to get that into the new buildings. This development, would you think that it would increase the capex in the coming years regarding or compared to what it used to be in former years? Well, as I said, the investments we are doing also in networks are very high. Guidance lines, it's about 950 million, which is an increase as compared to 2015. The forecast, well, into the forecast, this amount is not getting down at all. Still, major investments are to be done in the fixed network, in the computer world, but also in the dense mobile world. So it's about a amount which still be very high, and that's about 950 million euro as it will be done this year. Third question, it is about our former CEO or delegate board member. Into point 7 and 8, there is about discharge, and Mr. Bellens is not mentioned, but also differently from the annual agendas of 2014 and 15. It is not foreseen to put the to talk about Mr. Bellens regarding the execution of his function as a board until his dissettlement in 2013 because of the decision of the state, and this in line with the royal decree of November 2013. But the potential costs will be paid by Belgacom. I'd like to know why this has not been mentioned in the agenda, and why you were talking about legal affairs which were still going on, and what's the evolution of this, and in the end, the potential financial impact on the company and provisions that has been constituted herefore. The Mr. Bellens, he passed, but does it has a influence on the decisions that are to be taken? Two, in Mons, it was about a penal aspect, and these lawsuit is not ended, which was not the case in April 2015. And 3, decisions taken by Mr. Bellens in that business for Belgacom Proximus has not been confirmed by the other decision makers of the company in that time. 4, except another legal affair, which you could then talk about. The only one I am informed about, it is the process of balance against Proximus because of his dismissal and the conditions of his dismissal. And that's why your board put an end, terminated the contract that used to link you with the former CEO. According to what was said in the press, this process has been started by Mr. Bellens only a long time after the end of his function. And what's the relationship with the discharge that it needs to be linked to this? And regarding the process of the real estate business in Mons, what's the state of the art of that process? Is there any timeline? When can we expect any decision of the judge regarding the retribution? It's the tariff. How much could Proximus be condemned to pay, and to what extent some provisions have been made during the recent years? Well, as an answer of these different questions, I can tell you that during the General Assembly last year, we decided to report about the discharge of Mr. Bellens until the very end of the full process, lawsuits. And until now, it has not consequence on the decision that is to be taken because the 2 lawsuits are still going on. It is quite clear that within the Belgacom real estate affair, which is a penal thing, well, that there is no public action regarding Mr. Bellens himself, but regarding the other parties, it is going on. And the potential civil consequences of a future decision needs to be analyzed according to the decision that is still to be made. Hence, it is all premature to talk about any provision or agreement that has been provided by the competent authorities, because we do not know what the decision is taken by the judge. We cannot take a stand or give any answer to the question. We have to wait for the decision regarding this building in Mons. This is a trial that is still going on. It's in the so-called Chambre de mise en accusation in Mons, in that city. Regarding the former question, the question of the real estate and the building in Mons, but also all the facts and the context that have been leading to the dismissal of Mr. Bellens, well, it changes the decision regarding the discharge. We will follow up a timeline with conclusions and file exchange with the Court of Labor. It has been determined because there will be a session in February in 2017, except if there is another delay, because there has been a lot of delay in that process. And the other process, which is still going on within the Chamber of Guiltiness in Mons. Yes, a provision has been made according to the accountant's rules of good governance. Decision has been taken, but that amount is still internally. Another question of Mr. Gallois related to the approval of the annual accounts of Proximus on December 31st, 2015. Mr. Gallois noticed that in that annual report that Savory Delivery is generating a loss of 700 million, which is the triple of the sales, and which has reached 200 million in 2014. So my question, as we might suppose that the services of this business unit is billed to the other CBU and EBU, and this according to market prices, can we conclude that this is a structural deficient company? What can we do to reduce this? Regarding this question, regarding the reporting of Proximus, We do not have that into the full transfer pricing. No, we don't have that. We do not allocated the cost of ICT and network to the different segments. Within SDE, there's a small part of the turnover, the wholesale, while we have got the full cost of the network and ICT, and that's why there's such a difference between the so-called costs and the turnover, and what is the so-called loss of that segment. Well, these were the questions that were sent written, and KTO decision has changed, so there's no question anymore. I told you. Is there any other question or remarks? Any question or remark? Do you want to take the floor? If you were to take the floor, mention your name, please, so that we can organize ourselves. Take a mic, please. Dominique Carlier. I'm a small shareholder. First question, it's on page 26 and 27. There are 11 subsidiaries for 100% in Belgium. My question, is it useful to have so many subsidiaries as it is? We have got 100% ownership. And it's abroad, I can understand, but within Belgium, I don't understand. Second question, a general question, a little bit conservative, probably. It's about the effect on health of all those waves. My question, 4G all over the place, and I do even use it at home, but for Wi-Fi for free all over the place, then the number of waves will increase. Quit. What do we know? What can we do to be precautious? Security-wise, cloud is very good, but the hackers it's even easier because as such you get a transmission to the cloud, and as each time there is a transmission, particularly if it is transferred via a wave, what is there as a guarantee? So I'm very much hesitating to use cloud for that reason. Dominique, do you have the right answers? The 11 subsidiaries, 100%? Well, I take that first question. Yes, indeed. It is a permanent exercise, a reflection. You compare the structure of Proximus today with a few years ago. We reduced the number of subsidies from 21 to 11 today. And we do still go on. There's still some subsidiaries we are reflecting upon, we are working upon to consider whether we get rid of that subsidiary or whether we merge with other companies. We do continue with this exercise, of course. Health, waves and health. When I can answer, well, let's say that for the time being, there's no really convincing study referring to the negative consequences of that technology. But internally, we're trying to practice, let's say, to adopt an attitude of a caution attitude. We've got a working group which does the whole follow-up of World Health Organization. In order to identify things we can do, initiatives we can take, first, to follow this evolution, but also to inform all customers and employees, of course, about how customers can take precautionary measures. Cautious measure. Would you think it's better to have got more different antenna, but at a lower power? What's the kind of danger? But by multiplying the number of antennas, radiation is lower for the customer himself. Another example, how would you think the customer, what do you think the customer attitude should be regarding his smartphone? to sleep with his smartphone. Is that okay health-wise? All this is on the website. There is a whole set of information available for customers. Good question.
The guarantee, the security, the cloud, do we have a guarantee? So what are the security system? Yeah, as far as the cloud and the cyber security is concerned, the security of the cloud is better than the security on premise. Why? Because the measures taken by the professional suppliers are much broader than what we can do at home. So the cloud, as far as cybersecurity is concerned, is more an advantage than a danger. Number one. Number two, as Dominic said it, we have invested a lot in cybersecurity in 2015, also for our customers. And now we are developing, and this is the business unit enterprise which does it. We are developing a portfolio of products in cybersecurity, and this should help our customers. Thank you very much for these answers. Do we have other questions? I don't think so. Yes, there is another additional question. Maybe you can wait for the microphone. I would like to thank you, Chairman André de Barcy. I have indeed asked a few written questions. Thank you very much for the answers. I don't want to dwell on your former CEO, but I'm very pleased to see that through the next General Assembly, you will indeed change the relationships you have as far as the role of the state is concerned. And you also refer to some procedures, and this is just an example. I think that if last year you have decided to delay this discharge till the end of the legal procedure, but of course we don't know how, we don't know when, and therefore I think that when dealing with the agenda of your assembly, you should just give us an update and not forgetting about it each year. I think it is just a humane question, and everyone concerned, involved in this. Nevertheless, I think that we should all be informed. Thank you, even if Mr. Bellens is not there anymore. Yes, okay. We will each year indeed include that in this report. Each year we will indeed dwell on this subject, and you will be informed of the procedure, because we hope that we will come to an end as far and as quick as possible in order to put an end to this. But up to now, it's not possible, but we will keep you informed, and each year you will have the necessary information. Thank you. Do we have still a question? Yes, we still have questions. Thank you. Dimitri de Kegel, I have a question. As regards an asset for Tango in Luxembourg for the subsidiary. I see more than 50% of participation. And what is the real value if you compare it with 250,000 subscribers? Yes, asset Tango. This structure has PGs, an internal subsidiary, and the subsidiary is dealing with the financial elements, and it's not your analyze is not the best analyze between the assets and the economic performance. You have a balance sheet, which is important, and then you have an operational activity depending on the positioning of Tango in this country. Thank you very much. We still have another question. Yes, please. Yes, I would like to ask a question to Mr. Libard, the security and the cloud. Maybe I misunderstood it, but in your answer, I thought that you think that companies are more important as far as security is concerned, and that the private user that would use the cloud wouldn't have the same advantages. Is it a misunderstanding? The focus is indeed on companies, but this doesn't mean that we neglect normal or usual customers by providing firewalls and so on and so forth. We have made efforts, but the products and the focus we have for these products on cyber security are also related to the professional market. Yes, thank you. We have a security operating center, so those people who monitor the networks and so on and so forth, and they are there also to intervene if there are problems for residential customers. We have also partnership with Norton, and we can securize the different devices, your computer, your smartphone, your cloud. We have also agreements, for instance, with systems like OneDrive. I think that you need to make a difference between mass market products where we have partnerships with specialist companies selling these products compared to activities where we are going to monitor the system. So we have systems which are basically also a good protection, but the protection is a little bit different. Do we still have other questions? No, I don't see any other question. I think that now we can start, we can work on our agenda, and we can start with the voting procedures, and we are talking about the different elements or resolutions. We have the fifth item of the agenda. It's the approval of the annual account. So we should indeed asking you to approve the annual accounts with regard to the financial year closed on 31st of December 2015, including the following allocation of the results. And you can read the figures. We have the profit of the financial year, 635,492,734 euros. You have the accumulated profit from previous year, and at the end of the day, you can see the figures. You have also, of course, the return on capital, so gross dividends 490,048,341 euro. Other beneficiaries, 34 million euros 543,478, and a profit to be carried forward, 336,107,163. For 2015, the gross dividend amounts to 1.5 or 1.50 euro per share, entitling shareholders to a dividend net of withholding tax of 1.105 per share, of which an interim dividend of 50 cents per share was already paid on December the 11th. This means that a gross dividend of 1 euro per share will be paid on the 29th of April. The ex-dividend date is fixed on the 27th of April 26. The record date is the 28th of April 2016. We can vote as regards item 5 of the agenda. So we're going to vote. This is our first vote.
Heeft iedereen gestemd?
Do we vote? Did everyone vote? Can I close this voting procedure now? The results of this vote. We have 99.93 in favor of and 2 abstentions. I conclude that this is approved. Thank you very much. Item 6 of the agenda, the approval of the remuneration report. Can we start the vote for the approval of the remuneration report? Has everyone voted? Yes, then I can close the vote. What about the results? On the remuneration report, 97.57 favor, 1.78 against, abstain 0.64. So we can approve the remuneration report. Thank you. Now I have the 3 next items of the agenda. The granting of a discharge to the members of the board. We start with the granting of a discharge to the members of the board of directors for the exercise of their mandate during the financial year. Then we have a discharge for those who left the company in 2015. So we start with item 7, granting a discharge to the members of the board of directors for the exercise of their mandate during the financial year closed on the 31st of December 2015. We can start the vote on item 7 of the agenda. I can close the vote. Can we see the results? For 99.20 against 036, abstain 044. So the discharge has been granted to the members of the board of directors for the exercise of their mandate during the financial year 2015. I would like to thank the members for their cooperation. Item 8, granting of a special discharge to the members of the board of directors with mandate ended on the 15th of April 2015 for Mr. Joseph Cornu, and also to Theo Dillinson, exercise till the 25th of September 2015. We can start the vote. And I close the vote. And we look at the conclusions. In favor 99.18, against 037, abstain 045. So we have this special discharge to the members of the board, and we're talking about Mr. Theo Dillison and Mr. Joseph Cornu. Now, item 9 of the agenda. Granting a discharge based on Article 554 of the Company Code. We need a special vote on a discharge for the auditor, and therefore we would like to grant a discharge to the auditors, to the Board of Auditors, for the exercise of their mandate during the financial year closed on the 31st of December 2015. The vote is open. Did you all vote? I close the vote. Can we see the results? And the members of the Board of Auditors have been granted a discharge, 99.58% in favor, 036 again, 006 abstain. Now, granting a special discharge to Mr. Romain Lesage for the exercise of his mandate as member of the Board of Auditors until the 31st of March 2015. We can start voting. You all vote. We close the vote. Results. With 99.48 in favor, 035 against, 006 abstain. It means a discharge has been granted to Mr. Romain Lesage. Now, item 11 on the agenda, granting of a discharge to the auditor for the consolidated accounts of the Proximus Group. Motion for resolution granting of a discharge to the auditor, Deloitte Statutory, as CRL, represented by Mr. Geert Verstraeten and Mr. Nico Oudhaven, for the exercise of their mandate during the financial year closed on the 31st of December 2015. So we can open the vote. We can start the vote. Has everyone voted? We close the vote. The results: 99.48 in favor, 0.35 against, 006 abstain. And therefore, yes, indeed, item number 12. In compliance with Article 18, the Belgian state cannot participate, and this is the last time because we are going to change the statute, so the Belgian state will not be able to participate in this vote related to the appointment of 2 new independent members of the board. We have Mrs. Tanuja Randeri for a 4-year period that will come to an end in 2020. So item 12A agenda, we open the vote. Everyone can vote. So for Mrs. Tanuja Randeri, we close the vote. And now the results. And we have 91.78 in favor, 456 against, and 466 abstain. So we have indeed approved the designation of Mrs. Tanuja Randeri. Congratulations with your appointment.
We hope to work together.
Well, let's now talk about the appointment or the proposition of appointment of Luc van der Hoeve as a board member, which will end at the General Assembly of 2020. So it's about point 12b. You can vote right now. Everybody has voted, so let's close this vote right now. Please show the results. It's 91.77% in favor, 3.56 against, abstention 4.68%. I think that the Assembly has approved this choice, and I hope there will be a positive cooperation within the board and management. Welcome, both of you. Thank you. Point 13 of the agenda, appointment of the auditor in charge of certifying the accounts, Deloitte, represented by Michel Denayer, and CDP Petit & Co. SPRL, represented by Mr. Damien Petit, for the statutory audit mandate of Proximus SA of public law for a period of 6 years. An annual audit fee has been fixed at €226,850 to be indexed annually. I declare the vote as open. Point 13 on the agenda is open. Let's vote. Everybody has voted. Yes, the vote is closed now. Please show the results. As you can see, 99.84% in favor, 016 against, and 00 abstention. Congratulations for Deloitte and Petit regarding this nomination. Congratulations to those who have done that job before. Now, appointment number 14 of the agenda. It's about the auditor in charge of certifying the consolidated accounts, represented Mr. Denayer and Houthaven, for the consolidated accounts for the Proximus Group, and this for 3 years. Audit fee is €226,850 to be indexed annually. So this is point, and the vote is open for this point. You have been voting, okay. So the vote is being closed now. Please, could you show the results? 99.84% in favor, 016 against, and 0 abstain. Well, the Assembly has approved this resolution. Congratulations to Deloitte and the other. I wish you a lot of success within this cooperation. So please do notice the decision of the Court of Accounts on the date of 2016 regarding the reappointment of Mr. Pierre Rion as a member of a board of auditors of Proximus SA of public law, and this ever since February 10th, 2016. We do thank also the members of for this job. The different resolutions has been voted for, so I suggest to close this ordinary assembly, and I suggest to end this year the General Assembly. That this will be immediately followed by the extraordinary general meeting with the so-called lawyer of the company Berka. So please stay present and don't leave the room. And I'd like to ask to not to read the report. The report will be signed by the members of the Bureau. The shareholders who wish to sign this can address Mr. Dirk Liebaert. So please be patient. The extraordinary general meeting will start within a few minutes, and thereafter there's a lunch for those who stay with us. Thank you very much. There's a short film and some information, but as soon as we get the documents, the extraordinary general meeting will start. But in a while, you will able to see some film. Thank you very much for your presence in this General Assembly.
En alle andere fans van sport. Voor de cinefielen en de serie-addicts. Hey. Voor de kleintjes en de iets minder kleintjes. Om meerdere programma's tegelijk te bekijken. Of zelfs iets op te nemen van op afstand. Om te zappen met je tablet of je smartphone. En om dat allemaal overal te kunnen. Ontdek alle mogelijkheden van het nieuwe Proximus TV op proximus.be/tv.
Proximus. Altijd dichtbij.
Proximus présente le plus impatient des réseaux pour envoyer le plus vite possible vos pronostics ou la photo d'un repas diététique. Pour ne rater aucun coup franc ou montrer directement votre nouveau coup, Franck. Pour trouver quelque chose qui vous fait rire ou pour faire rire. Tout ça, il n'y a qu'un seul réseau qui peut vraiment vous l'offrir. Le plus impatient des réseaux. Découvrez-le sur proximus.be/qualité.
Proximus, infiniment proche.
Wanneer kreeg je die voor het laatst nog water? Blijkbaar toch al een tijdje geleden. Wat als je wijngaard zelf iets kon laten weten? Want een slimme wijnstok registreert hoe het met de vochtigheid van de grond is gesteld en deelt je dat ook even mee. En wat als je kleerkast je 's morgens op de hoogte brengt van het weer, zodat je geen sandalen aantrekt als de weerman sneeuw voorspelt? In de toekomst zal alles geconnecteerd zijn met het internet. Van je schoenen, je huishoudapparaten tot de verlichting in je straat. Uitgerust met sensoren registreren ze informatie die ze doorsturen naar jou, naar elkaar of naar iedereen die er baat bij heeft. Dit wordt the Internet of Things genoemd. Nog niet helemaal duidelijk, parkeren bijvoorbeeld. Een sensor op de parkeerplaats geeft aan of er een auto staat of niet en stuurt deze informatie door. En dus hoef jij geen rondjes te rijden, want de app op je smartphone stuurt je direct naar dat vrije plekje. Maar het gaat nog verder. Het gebouw waar je werkt wordt wekelijks helemaal onder handen genomen door de poetsvrouw. En dat terwijl het misschien niet hoeft. Want niet elke ruimte wordt evenveel gebruikt. Ook dat wordt geregistreerd en doorgestuurd, zodat er enkel gepoetst moet worden waar het echt nodig is. En dat is veel efficiënter. En wat met het licht? Als er niemand is, hoeft het niet te branden. Dus springen de straatlantaarns enkel aan wanneer dat nodig is, wat een heleboel scheelt in de elektriciteitskosten. Met diezelfde sensoren kan je de dingen ook tracken. Zo kan je perfect volgen of je lading, je pakje of zelfs je bagage is waar het moet zijn. En weet je het ook direct als dat niet zo is. Wat deze sensoren zo bijzonder maakt, is dat ze weinig stroom verbruiken en zeer kleine datapakketjes versturen. Maar zonder netwerk is er van informatiedelen geen sprake. En dat is waar Proximus in beeld komt met het nieuwe LoRa-netwerk. Als enige provider in België voorzien wij niet alleen het netwerk, maar ook de sensoren en het platform om al die data te capteren en te verwerken om zo tot een intelligente oplossing te komen. Je koffiezet die begint te lopen als je boven de wekker afdrukt, waarom niet? De mogelijke toepassingen van The Internet of Things zijn eindeloos. En we ondersteunen je graag in de jouwe.
Mesdames, Messieurs, j'ai l'honneur de déclarer l'Assemblée.
Well, my lady and gentlemen, declare the extraordinary meeting open. And once more, welcome. I won't mention all the names. Of course, there's the trade union representatives, which is present, but also Michel Georgis, and to thank him because it's maybe the latest meeting. The human resources manager might quit this company. Thank you for your presence and for the efforts done. I wish welcome. I wish you welcome, and also welcome to the lawyer Tim Carnava, the notary of the Berquin company, who will confirm the authentic report of this meeting. The extraordinary meeting, it's about the implementation of the provisions of the law. And 31st of September, the Belgian Parliament has approved a new law regarding the reform of public companies, which is enforced ever since January 12th, 2016. It's about the implementation of the law to replace the law of 1991 about the public companies, the economic public companies, and to modernize these through some more flexibility in order to have a same level playing field with the other companies, and particularly to harmonize the stock note company in Belgium. This is an ambition we used to have for a long time, but it's also to determine the framework within which the government will have a participation of 50% and can reduce this and to manage the consequences. By this extraordinary general meeting, there is a new version of statutory law integrating the change of the law of 1991. We took advantage also to dig into the statutory laws and to add some additional aspects to improve the governance of Proximus, to simplify the usual processes, and to make it better readable. With other words, the changes to the statutory laws, it's about the change of the law to adopt to the law of 1991, to improve the governance, the company governance, and the changes in order to simplify, but also some changes with an eye on the readability of the statutory laws. Secondly, we suggest the change of the so-called social object in order to align that on the future activities of Proximus, to make more clear and exhaustive which are the activities of this company, taking into account a fast technological evolution and the permanent evolution of the affected market. Because of transparency, it is said to determine the social object, and as such, it will take into account delivery of ICT and digital solutions, and to authorize the company to take all commercial decisions, technological decisions, which is directly or indirectly related to the execution of this object. Thirdly, some proposals referring to the so-called mandates. This is not new dispositions. It is already in the bylaws. We just ask for a prolongation. The mandate of the board members for 3 years, it is to say from 2013, will remain until 2017. It's about a capital increase or acquisition, but also to buy one's own bonds if there is a threat. The other two mandates over the duration of 5 years, and that were decided in 2015, will still be valid until 2019, and that is a capital increase in the framework of the authorized capital, and also to purchase one's own bonds. As Proximus was mandatory, it was mandatory to organize this extraordinary meeting because of this change to the law of 1991. We took advantage in order to renew the mandates. And we do hope that during this extraordinary meeting, we will be able to avoid this in 2017 and 2019. It is not obvious, of course, and it will be judged by the shareholders. But we do ask the shareholders for this mandate so that the bylaws can be coordinated to execute the decisions and to fulfill formalities. So that's why I do suggest the same composition of the bureau as the ordinary meeting. Is there any comment about the composition of the board? Otherwise, it is valid, and I'll give the floor to Dirk Liebert. Well, this extraordinary meeting of the shareholders, it has been notified compliant with the law. It has been published in the same newspapers and the same date as the usual assembly. The people have been invited according to the same way as for the general meeting. And the proofs of this invitation with the agenda and also a copy of the invitation has been introduced with the Bureau. The shareholders and the mandates have signed the list of presents, and this list is given to the notary, to the lawyer, and it will be added to the report. All will be put into the archives of this company. Compliant with the law, the half of the capital with me present in order to vote validly on the agenda points of this general meeting. The list of presents says that 290,630 shares are represented out of a total of 338,225,135 shares. And with subtracting the own shares, it's 200,207,531, which means that the quorum of 50% plus one share is present. And as such, we can decide validly and decide upon the agenda. The motion of resolution regarding point 1 until 3, 5, and 6 have been validly accepted, and so the decisions must be voted for in favor with 2/3. Regarding point 4, 7, and 8 of this agenda, to vote validly, decisions must be supported by 4/5 of the votes. Compliant with Article 41, Paragraph 4 of the law of March 21, the reform of some economic public companies, the aforementioned amendments to the bylaws only enter into effect after approval by the King by a decision taken by the Council of Ministers. And now I'll give the floor to the Chair. Is there any remark, a question regarding these different points? Well, I'd like to draw your attention that during the meeting you will not have the opportunity to put questions. So if there's any question, you can ask it now. If there's no question, we will talk about the voting procedure, which is the same as the ordinary meeting. This, before giving the floor to the notary, would like to ask him to free him from any lecture within which that report, everything has been said ever since the start of this meeting. I suggest to give the floor to the notary lawyer to talk about the resolutions, and I give him the floor for the very first resolution. You've got the floor.
Thank you very much, Chair. Implementation of the provisions of the law of 16 December 2015, amending of the law of 21st of March 1991 concerning the reorganization of certain economic public companies as published in the appendixes to the Belgian Official Gazette of 12 Jan 2016, entry into effect on 12th of Jan 2016. And based on the new text, we will have the reference to the competitive sector in which Proximus operates, amendments of the provision regarding the appointment and dismissal of directors, the chairman of the board of directors and the chief executive officer, amendment to the provision of the term of the chief executive officer's mandate, deletion of the provisions on the management committee, deletion of certain limitations on the delegation authority of the board of directors, deletion of the unilateral rights of the government to intervene in and supervise the operation of the company, which includes the abandonment of the mandate of the government commissioner, reference to the possibility of the Belgian government to decrease its equity stake in the company's share capital to less than 50% plus one share. Pursuant to this decision, proposal to amend the bylaws as per the new text of the bylaws to be adopted. As far as this first resolution, as far as this is concerned, we need to vote. You have been able to read the text, and so we can now vote on the first resolution, and we start with the vote. Has everyone voted? We close the vote. If we can see the results, and then we have 99.51% in favor, 0.004 against, basically, and 0.45 abstain. So this resolution is approved. I'll give the floor to the notary for the second resolution. Proposal for various amendments to the bylaws to simplify the management and operations of the company and to improve the corporate governance and among other things, the next items. Reduce the maximum number of members of the board of directors to 14. Shortening of the duration of the mandate of new directors from 6 to 4 years, introduction of the principle that all directors appointed by the general meeting upon proposal by the board of directors based on the candidate directors that are proposed by the nomination and remuneration committee. The latter takes the principle of reasonable representation of significant stable shareholders into account. Shareholders holding at least 25% of the shares in the company have the right to nominate directors, and this pro rata to their shareholding. Amendments of the provision regarding the replacement of the chairman of the board of directors if he or she is prevented from attending a meeting. And then, last but not least, introduction of the possibility to keep the register of registered shares in electronic format. Pursuant to this decision, proposal to amend the bylaws as per the new text of the bylaws to be adopted. We can start the vote on the second resolution. and we need we need 75% of positive results. Everyone has voted, so the vote is closed. Please, the results. 99.49% in favor, 0.006 against, 0.45 abstain, which means that it is adopted. Now, the third resolution. You have the word. You have the floor. Sorry, excuse me. Various amendments to the bylaws to improve the readability of the bylaws. Indeed, this is very clear, and you have had the opportunity to read the document, so the readability, only the readability, but nevertheless, we have to vote. I launch the vote. 75% for the readability is necessary. Has everyone voted? So we can indeed close the vote. Let's show the results. 99.51% in favor, against 0.04, abstain 0.45. So it is approved. Now, next item, next resolution. And of course, I think that the notary shouldn't read the specific report drawn up in accordance with Article 559 of the Belgian Company Codes. This is the fourth resolution, proposal to change the company's corporate object to include current and future technological developments and services and other more general acts that are directly or indirectly linked to the corporate object. Pursuant to this decision, proposal to amend Article 3 of the bylaws by inserting the text item 5, the delivery of ICT and digital services. The company may carry out all commercial, financial, technological and other acts that are directly or indirectly linked to its corporate object or which are useful for achieving this object.
Voilà, donc sur cette quatrième résolution pour la fourniture.
Well, this is number 4 as regards the delivery of ICT and digital services. It's something which is not new. So this is indeed what we need. It's 80%, and I open the vote. Did everyone vote? We close the vote. What about the results? 99.55 for, 0 against, and 0.45 abstain. So this resolution is adopted, is approved. Thank you. Now, next item for the notary. He is not going to read the specific report in accordance with Article 604 of the Belgian Company Codes. Proposal to renew the power of the Board of Directors for a 5-year term as from the date of notification of the amendment to these bylaws by the General Meeting of April the 20th, 2016 to increase the company's share capital in one or more transactions with a maximum of 200 million euro pursuant to Section 1 of Article 5 of the bylaws. Pursuant to this decision, proposal to amend Article 5, Section 2 of the bylaws as follows. Replace April 16, 2014 by April 20, 2016. We vote on resolution number 5. Increase in capital possibility. We open the vote. We need 75%. Has everyone voted? So we close the vote. What about the results? 4, 95.28% against 4.60, abstain 0.11. So this resolution has been approved. Now, number 6, I'll give the floor to the notary. Proposal to renew the power of the Board of Directors for a period of 3 years starting from the day of this amendment to the bylaws by the General Assembly of April the 20th, 2016 to increase the company's capital in any and all forms, including a capital increase whereby the preemptive rights of shareholders are restricted or withdrawn even after receipt by the company of a notification for the EFSMA of a takeover bid for the company's share. Where this is the case, however, the capital increase must comply with the additional terms and conditions that are applicable in such circumstances as laid down in Article 607 of the Belgian Company Codes. Pursuant to this decision, proposal to amend Article 5, Section 3, Subsection 2 of the bylaw as follows: replace the date of the 16th of April 2014 by the date of 20 of April 2016. So we can vote on the 6th resolution. We need 75%. 6th resolution. Did everyone vote? So I close the vote. Yes. Results, please. 74.87, so we don't have the 75% because 24.68 are against and we have an abstain of 0.45. It means that as far as the 6th resolution is concerned, with an increase in capital in the next 3 years, that would be indeed approved. We don't have 75% because we have only 74.87%. So we need indeed to keep what is there till 2017. So it is rejected. We know that there is a sensitivity, and some shareholders don't like this kind of capital increase in case of well, we know it's very sensitive, but of course we have the possibility till 2017. Afterwards, with the board of directors, we are going to analyze this and we are going to see if we need another extraordinary General Assembly. And maybe we should have a specific discussion with a few shareholders who are against this proposal, this resolution. This resolution is not approved. It's not approved. I repeat. Now, next item, authorization to the Board of Directors to acquire the company's own shares. Yes, a proposal to renew the power of the Board of Directors to acquire within the limits set by law the maximum number of shares permitted by law within a 5-year period starting on April 2016. The price of such share must not be higher than 5% above the highest closing price in the 30-day trading period preceding the transaction and not be lower than 10% below the lowest closing price in the same 30-day trading period. Pursuant to this decision, proposal to amend Article 13, subsection 2 of the bylaw as follows: replace April 16, 2014 by April 20, 2016. It's to be able to acquire our own shares. We need 80% according to the civil code. We are going to vote on this resolution. We start to vote. Has everyone voted? Yes. We close the vote. Please show the results. And yes, it is approved. 80.09%. So it is approved, and against 19.79 and abstain 0.12. So acquiring own shares in a normal situation is approved. Authorization. Next resolution, resolution number 8. The floor is yours. A proposal to renew the power of the board of directors to acquire or transfer the maximum number of shares permitted by law in case such acquisition or transfer is necessary to prevent any imminent and serious prejudice to the company. This mandate is granted for a period of 3 years, starting on the date that this amendment to the bylaws by the general meeting of today, April the 20, 2016, and this is published in the appendixes to the Belgian Official Gazette. Pursuant to this decision, proposal to amend Article 13, subsection 4 of the bylaw as follows: replace April the 16, 2014 by 20 of April 2016. So we can vote on the 8th resolution, acquiring shares to avoid an imminent and serious prejudice to the company. We need to reach 80%. Has everyone voted? We close the vote. Please show the results. It's the same result. We don't obtain 80%. We have only 74.97% and 24.58 against, 0.45 abstain. So it is not approved. It's the same philosophy. We are talking about acquiring own shares, and we need 80%. It remains valid till 2017. Same reasoning. If we believe it's necessary to change the statutes in the future, we can always organize a new meeting till 2017. No problem right now, but if we need to prolong it, we need a new extraordinary general assembly. So we don't have the 80% as foreseen by the law. Now, the next item, it's a 9th resolution. You have the opportunity to take the floor. Yes, very briefly, proposal to grant each director of the company acting alone the power to draft the coordination of the bylaws and to execute the decision taken. We can vote. It's a normal majority which is required. Has everyone voted? I close the vote. What about the result? And this is approved. 99.55% against 0 and abstain 45.
And I give the floor to the notary to talk about the last one. It's about the accordance to the Secretary General to provide all the competences in order to fulfill all formalities with a company docket in order to register the data to the so-called Carrefour Entreprise and to talk about the tax on the added value and to make available to the shareholders a non-official and informal text on the www.proximus.com website. Regarding the last resolution, the vote is open regarding the last resolution with a normal majority. Did everybody vote? Yes. So I declare this as closed. Please, could you show the results? 99.5% in favor, 0% against, and abstain 0.45%. So Secretary General has all powers. This is the end of the agenda of the extraordinary meeting. I'd like to ask the members of the board to sign the report. And as this agenda has been covered, I'd like to ask the members or the mandate holders to sign this report. Ladies and gentlemen, I close this session. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for your voting. 2 times just not enough, but I thank you for your active participation. There's a reception just next doors, and there is a lunch. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the very end. Thank you for your attention, for votes and questions. You're invited to the reception, and I hope that the General Assembly of next year will be as positive as this one, with as good results as this year. It's up to you to work it out. See you downstairs. Thank you very much for this General Assembly 2016. Bye-bye.